Hey everybody, and welcome to the Get Speaking English Coffee and Crossword stream. My name is Axel, and while we wait for the stream to begin, let me quickly explain how this activity works and give you some information that will help you do it. So, during the stream, we will go through a crossword similar to the one you see on the screen right now. I'm going to guide the conversation by letting you know which question will work on when. I'm going to explain the question to you, maybe give you some definitions, and then I'm going to give you additional clues, other information, hints, maybe some images to help you figure out the answer with me. So, when you think you know an answer, go ahead and put it in the chat. You'll be able to participate on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. The addresses are all available on the screen. So don't be shy if you think you know an answer. Put it in the chat, and when I see a correct answer, I will add it on the board and we will fill out the crossword together that way. So before we begin though, there are a few important rules that you should know specifically about this stream so we could all have a good time. So my first major rule is no cheating. So don't use the internet unless I tell you to. So we could Google the answers if we want or use websites. We're not going to do that though. We're going to work together instead. So please do not use the internet unless I tell you to do so. Secondly, please follow the conversation. So for example, if we are talking about question number 3, don't start talking about question 19. Also, too, please be patient. We may take some detours along the way. I love to talk about additional vocabulary, phrases, other things that are related to what's in the crossword. So just please be patient. Try to stay with the group and don't ruin it for others. Finally, please be nice to one another. Like I said, you'll be able to participate on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, but let's create a nice, friendly learning environment where people feel like they can participate without judgment and have a good time. So those are my main rules for playing this game. Now I'm going to give you some additional information specifically about this crossword to help you complete it. So the first useful thing to know is that this is an American crossword. So that means that American spelling and vocabulary is going to be used. So you can see on the screen right now some differences between American and British spelling. There are many others. This is just a small sample of some of the differences. There are also differences in the choice of vocabulary, in some of the phrases, some of the slang is different. So usually this crossword uses American English. It's also worth knowing that any of the trivia is usually about the United States, so about American history, American geography. However, we won't need to know much trivia. Thankfully, the majority of the questions in this crossword are about language, they're about English, so we won't need to know a lot about trivia. It's also really helpful to know that the answers match the questions. So the answers will always use the same type of word and the same word form as the word in the question. So for example, if there is a plural in the question, there will be a plural in the answer. If there's an abbreviation in the question, there will be an abbreviation in the answer. So all of that is extremely helpful. Sometimes you will see me put little S's or EDs in places, and that's just good information for us to know to fill out the board faster. Keep that in mind too when you are answering, that your answer should always use the same type of word and the same word form as the question. Also, multiple word answers are okay in this crossword. So sometimes the answer could be a phrasal verb, maybe part of a common phrase or an idiom, part of a sentence. Some of the longer ones are titles of books, titles of movies. This crossword does not indicate when something is a multiple word answer. However, I am usually quick to spot them. I will let you know if something is a multiple word answer, but do keep in mind when you are thinking about the answers to the questions that multiple word answers are possible. Finally, too, because we are here to review English, we're here to learn new words and vocabulary as well. It's important to know that there are words in this crossword that we can't really use in real life. So some of the words are just archaic, they're outdated, they're old-fashioned. Some of them are very formal or used only in very specific contexts. I will try to let you know if you can't use something, and I'll try to give you an alternative expression instead. I'll also let you know when you could use something in a specific context, but do keep that in mind, that there are words in this crossword that even I, as a native English speaker, would never use in real life during a conversation. Anyway, so that's it. Like I said, don't be shy. Go ahead, jump in. The more you participate, the faster this crossword will go, so I do appreciate your help. Also, don't hesitate to ask questions about any of the words we talk about or any of the phrases we discuss. I always love having a good language discussion, so put your questions in the chat. I will try to address them. Finally, if you enjoyed this activity, please give this video a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing to the channel or following my Facebook page so you don't miss any future streams. Also, please tell other people about this stream. The more people we can get out, the better. It grows the community, and it will let me host even more free live streams, free events, and other additional affordable group activities for English learners. So thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you being here, and I love when you participate. And get ready, because we are going to start soon. Hello? Hello? I think I got the right one. Always so paranoid I'm gonna stream my music. Because I know that's happened before. Anyways, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. It's morning here in Canada. Welcome to the stream. I'm Axel, if you don't already know, from Get Speaking English. And welcome, Jacqueline. I'm doing good. I hope the weather is beautiful in your area today. The weather is nice today. We had some snow like yesterday, which was unpleasant. But today it's like a heck of a lot better. It's like 10 degrees. which seems cold, but that's warm for here because it's been like 1 degrees past couple of days. How is the weather where you are? I would also love to know how it is where you are. Yeah. So, right. So I'm live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And we are going to do this crossword today. This is actually yesterday's crossword. But we are going to complete this crossword. Like the video said, I'm going to direct the conversation, let you know which question we are going to work on when. I will provide you with additional clues, information, things of that nature, so we can all figure out the answer together. And then when I see the answer, I will put it on the board. So don't be shy. Feel free to participate. I love when people play. You can play on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I will be watching the chats in all of these locations. So feel free to put in an answer if you think you know what it is. And that would be very useful. It is always better when lots of people play because it goes faster. I like when this goes fast. For French, Canada always seems under the snow. Certainly a cliche. Yeah, I know. Most people always think that we are like living in the Arctic or something, like the Arctic tundra all the time. We're all living in forests and igloos and stuff like that. That is not the case. There are definitely warm areas of Canada, especially the west coast, around Vancouver and things like that, which is near Seattle. They hardly get snow ever. So it really depends on where you are. The region where I live right now it gets snow, but it doesn't get tons of snow. I've lived in areas in Canada where they get a lot of snow, but here we don't get too much snow. It is relatively cooler though than other areas of Canada. Like the temperature does not fluctuate as much. I've lived in some places where it gets like 35 degrees in the summer and then minus 20 in the winter. Here it's a little bit more even. So it gets like 25 in the summer and then maybe minus 10 in the winter. So it's not as crazy. But yeah, we definitely don't have snow all the time here. Anyways, so let's get right to it. I looked at this one. The reason we're not doing today's crossword was it was really hard. But this one's a little bit easier. I think the words are going to be better for all of us. So we're going to do this one. So let's get right to it. First up, so we have walk unevenly, but let's do this one here. A bank offering, something that maybe somebody gives you, something that we might go and get at the bank. And I'm gonna say this is something that you might get if you need more money than you currently have. This is something you'd get if you need more money than you currently have. So say for example, maybe you want to open a business or maybe you want to buy a home. You would go and you would ask them for a loan. Exactly. I believe the answer to this one is a loan. So let's put that in here. And if I can spell. Okay, here we go. So we got a loan here. Perfect. And let's see, to boot. We'll talk about this one in a second. But a freshener target. What are those fresheners? The things that you would use to make something smell a little bit better, right? And an air freshener, for example, is used to make the air smell better, right? So we're looking for a word, basically, something that has to do with smells here, I think. Maybe a word for a bad smell, maybe. So, an unpleasant smell. basically the opposite of something like a fragrance, for example. A fragrance would be a pleasant smell, but here I think we're going to want to cover up a bad smell. So I'm going to start with an O. So that's going to be open. This is a noun, though. An unpleasant smell. I'm gonna put a hint in here. I'm gonna say it has an R in it. There is an R in this word. An unpleasant smell. Typically. I like looking for pictures of air fresheners. Anyways, I believe this word is going to be odor. Exactly, odor. Odor is usually the word that we use if a smell is particularly unpleasant. So if something smells bad, you might use a freshener or an air freshener to make it better. You might also freshen your breath as well, something like that. But yeah, fresheners would get rid of bad smells. Okay, so goofing off here, but there is no good odor. Yeah, usually odor is used for bad smells. Yeah, so odor is usually used for bad smells. Not like all the time, but usually it is associated with bad smells or something really like distinct. So that's how we would use odor. Yeah. All right. I guess let's see. Goofing off. Largest portion. I think we could do this one actually. This walk unevenly here. Kind of like a walk, maybe. That would happen if you hurt your foot, for example. It's kind of like, to you know, walk maybe like slowly and with a lot of difficulty, maybe usually because you have an injury of some sort, maybe, or your leg and foot hurts. I'm still coughing. Hoping I'm not gonna cough through this whole thing. I just had a lesson before this and I was coughing a bit, which is a bummer. Ugh, because I just want to be better. I'm so tired. I hate being sick. Being sick is terrible. Like, I just want to move on with my life. Excuse me. Anyways, yeah, if you were kind of like walking along and kind of at a unusual pace, maybe. So looking for a sort of a word about that. I'm gonna get a little bit of a picture, maybe, possibly, that might indicate. Gives us sort of a clue. This guy looks like he is struggling a little bit. So we're looking for a word like this, and we can see that it starts with an L. I will give you a hint. It ends with a P. There is a P in this word. There's a P in this word. I think the word we are looking for is a limp. So if somebody is kind of walking unevenly, often because they have some sort of injury or something like that, kind of like this guy, hobbling along, we might say that they either have a limp, so we can use it as a noun. Limp, oops, sorry. To have a limp or to walk with a limp. But we could also use it as a verb as well. So to limp, you know, he was limping around the house because he stubbed his toe. And what do I mean by he stubbed his toe? That means when maybe you hit your toe against something, like maybe like a table leg or something, and you hurt your toe. So to stub your toe means you hit your toe against something hard, like a table, for example, and you hurt it. So you would stub your toe, and that might cause you to limp. All right, so let's put that in here. Limp is what that movement is gonna be called. Well, what do we have here? Profit, column, figure. Yeah, maybe this here. So, largest portion. So, so a word, we would use this often, this word, so the biggest portion, largest portion. Portion is another word for amount. The largest amount may be possible, for example. Largest amount possible. A portion and an amount are the same thing. We use this word often when we are making comparisons. It's one of those, and we use it a lot with making superlatives. Superlative adjectives, for example, when we are talking about the most extreme out of everything else. So looking for a word that we might use when making a superlative that indicates. So more would be for making a comparison. For making a comparison. So something is more, I don't know, more interesting than something else, right? Something is more adjective than something else. But here we want to use like the largest amount, you know, so it was the interesting thing I had ever heard, for example. It was the most interesting, exactly, the most. So most is gonna be that word in here. All right. So I like this to boot, because I have a funny feeling this is a new term for a bunch of us. I'm gonna put it in a sentence so you can see how it is used. Maybe we can then guess as to what this word is going to be. It is an idiom, this to boot. An idiom, great little idiom. Here it is in a sentence so you can see how it is used. So he's kind, handsome, and wealthy to boot. So he is kind, handsome, and wealthy as well, basically. So, so it basically means that he is, you know, this thing in addition to these other things as well. So we're looking for another word that we might use when adding something on to something else, basically. So, something like that. So, I guess. Let me know. I'm gonna get another example of to boot in the meantime while you guys think about it. So here's another one. So she gets motion sickness and she's afraid of flying to boot. So she's afraid of flying in addition to getting motion sickness, and also is going to be our word. Exactly. So let's put also in here. So we could also say he's kind, handsome, And also wealthy, we would usually put the also here. Also wealthy, or she gets motion sickness and she's also afraid of flying. But to boot is kind of a great one. So that's a good little one to keep in your back pocket. Because sometimes people will say that from time to time. Okay. Let's see. Well, I don't think that we're gonna get this one. Goofing off. Let's see if we can get more information here, because I'm not sure this one here, what this is gonna be. Let's see here. Little trivia. Simpsons bartender. You watched The Simpsons. Throw that one out here. So the bartender, The Simpsons. If you don't know it, I will throw it in there. But bartender of The Simpsons, and then a roadhouse. So a roadhouse. Basically a roadhouse is maybe like someplace along the highway where you may stop for the night. So we're looking for basically this here, a 3-letter word of another place. So another place where you can stay for the night. Like you'd be able to rent a room, right? So we're looking for a place where we might be able to rent a room for a night, sleep for the night, and then carry on our way on our journey. So, kind of like a hotel, right? But obviously hotel is too wrong, or so too long. Hotel is too long. Motel also, similarly, motel is usually more along the highway, whereas a hotel we might find more sort of downtown in the middle of the city center or something. And they're usually big buildings too with multiple floors, right? Whereas a motel usually is maybe like 1-2 stories tops, and they're kind of sort of like longer and stuff. Anyways, another word for a place that we might stay at. There's also bed and breakfast. Just another word for a place that we could potentially stay for the night if we are traveling. This one starts with an I. This word starts with an I. I'm gonna put an I in here. I think this is going to be an inn. So an inn is a place as well where we might stay for a night. So I'm gonna put it in here. An inn, exactly. Inn is gonna be our answer. And let's see what else we got here. Visitors from space. We have an S here at the end of this noun. This word is also going to be a noun. I'm going to put the S in here right there. Something, 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 something. N. S. Yeah, visitors from space. So from outer space, basically. We might say that they arrive on UFOs, although these days there is another word that they use for it, and I'm trying to think what it is, like AUP or something. Aliens is our word, exactly. I'm gonna say too, sometimes we could also refer to them extraterrestrials. Another word for aliens, an extraterrestrial or extraterrestrials, plural. Is that AUP? I think so. Nope. UAP. UAP is the word. I love Fox Mulder and Scully. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I remember that show. UAP now is the word, which stands for... I don't know. Unidentified aerial phenomena. So these days they're using UAPs instead of UFOs, but UFO used to be like unidentified flying object. But yeah, nowadays they refer to them as UAPs. Anyways, cool. Alright, so what else do we have in here? So Ontario natives. I'm gonna put an S in here, but we're not gonna get this. We might be able to get this one though. So we are looking for a word that has to do... Well, if you cease something, like if you cease to do something, yeah, so if you cease something, you no longer do it. So basically you stop doing it. Right? So we're looking for another word. Another word here that basically means stops doing something, or just like basically stops, right? Yeah. Let's see if I can... see if they put it in a sentence, maybe. Yeah, basically stop moving or doing something. Halt! Exactly. I'm glad you got that, because I was like struggling to find more ways to describe this word. Halts. Perfect. Alright, so we got halts here. Yeah, you would halt doing something. People might also call this out as well. So here, for example, halt! Called the guard. You can't go any further without permit. So halt, again, just another synonym for stop. Basically, Hurons are the Ontario natives. You're right. It is. They are the Ontario natives. So let's put that in there. That's cool, because I didn't know how to explain that one. But that's great. You're right, Hurons. The Ontario natives. And also, Huron is one of the Great Lakes in that region as well. So, alright. I don't know what this Fox of Ray is. I'm gonna put this one here, maybe. The scroll work shape, just like this S here. Oh, the Simpsons guy is Mo. So I'll put that in there. Spring up. So sometimes if we say that something springs up, if something springs up, there's a kind of maybe another word. It pops up. As in, it happens, maybe, unexpectedly. For example, so if something pops up or springs up, it happens unexpectedly. It was allied with the French during the French Canadian colony. Okay, you know, I was wondering, because I know now that they're like the, because there's a couple different native populations in the region, and I wasn't sure, I was trying to think earlier, like what, like the different names of them are, of them were, but yeah, so they were the original ones that were allied with the French colony. Okay, that's cool. These days, the descendants of the of that meeting are called the Métis, and they get a special, they get sort of like special privileges and things like that, similar to how like just like Native Americans in Canada also get special recognition and things like that. So the Métis are also, those are like the descendants. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, Native Americans, the Métis, and the Inuit. Those are the people in the north, the Native Americans in the north. They all get special privileges and status and things like that in Canada. So that's kind of cool. And I spelled that wrong. There's an accent on it. But yeah, so we're looking for a word that we might also use if something came up kind of randomly. To arise, basically to happen, maybe unexpectedly, but not necessarily, but another word that basically means to happen, I guess. Here we go. Yeah, there's the accent, the T. Yeah. Like looking really quickly and see if it is like the... Anyways. All right. Anyways. This one here. Arise. I'll just put it in here. So arise. Something springs up. To spring up, arises. So arise. Put that in there. Okay, so the material are mostly Cree. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, apparently. Anyways, there's so many different like tribes, different types of Aboriginal peoples. I live in Mi'kmaq territory. That's where I live right now. Over on the East Coast. Anyways, all right, so that's that one. Derby drink. I don't know if we're gonna know this one. But there is like this drink. I wonder if I can get the... It's has mint in it. This drink. This Derby thing, this refers to the Kentucky Derby, which is basically Derby is basically a a big horse race. And they notoriously, I don't know this word, Micmac. Yeah, Micmac. Yeah. Yeah, so previously we would call them Micmac. But it's actually Mi'kmaq. So now we are trying to refer to them as the correct word. But yeah, the Micmac. It's actually Mi'kmaq. But yeah, those are the First Nations of where I live. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. Kentucky, right, famous horse race, and then there is this drink that they would serve. It has mint in it. Has mint in it. I'm gonna get a picture. Here it is. So we're looking for the name of whatever this is. This is a mint something. So we may or may not know this. I don't know. I'm kind of curious what it's made out of. It's a cocktail. All right, so that's bourbon, sugar, mint, and crushed ice. So that is what it's made out of. There is a P in this. I'll put a P here. There is a P. A P here. You could also potentially maybe you know this person as well too. This fox here, or what letter would complete this name? That's another good little little hint as to what this word is. We want a vowel. I'm so glad it's warmer here. I always feel every time I'm in this room, I'm buried in, because I will wear multiple sweaters and hoodies and things. And today I don't have to, because it is not freezing. So it is this thing. This thing here is called a mint julep. So they serve mint juleps at that horse race. So that is the name of this drink. Alright. What else can we do here? Personal annoyance. Personal annoyance. Basically, yeah, like little annoyance. Like a little annoyance. An annoyance, noun here, is something that annoys or bothers you. So for example, maybe people who chew with their mouths open. For example, so we are looking for basically a two word answer. About a personal little annoyance. So word for something that's annoying to you. Usually like a little thing that's annoying. Maybe people who chew with their mouths open. Maybe people who interrupt a lot. That can be really annoying. Maybe people who talk on speakerphone while they're on the bus, or maybe just people who talk on the phone in general while on public transportation. Maybe people who sit too close to you when there's like tons of other space around. So we're looking for a word, something that for those little annoyances. And we can see that there's a P here. There's a P here. I'm gonna put it here. There's gonna be a P here. I'm gonna put a P there. So this is going to be a pet peeve. A pet peeve is something that would annoy you. So one of my pet peeves is people who chew with their mouths open, or weak coffee, maybe. I don't know. The pet peeve when people interrupt. That's a pet peeve of mine. So those little tiny, little insignificant sort of things that just bother you. Those are pet peeves. Did I spell it right? I did spell it right. Yes. Okay. Let off steam in a coat rack. All right, let's do this one here maybe, to let off steam. So steam, obviously, that is like water vapor in the air, right? And if you let it off, it means that you let it go into the atmosphere or something like that. So we're basically looking for another word, something about that releasing air basically into the atmosphere or something. And here they're using it as a verb, because we can use it as a verb to vent, to let you know, air and steam be released into the atmosphere. But also this word often gets used as a noun as well. Basically for the thing that lets you lets the air escape. So, vibe? Not gonna be vibe. I thought you were gonna say vape for a second. That's what those, like, those electronic cigarettes. I'm gonna get a picture of the noun thing, if I can find one. Here is the thing, the noun of it. So it would let out air or let out steam into the atmosphere. Take it out. Those things. Gonna end in a T. Gotta put a T here. This here is a vent. This is an air vent. And then, yeah, as a, like, sort of a lesser known use of this word, we can also use it as a verb. So you can vent air, for example. I'm gonna put that in a sentence, maybe. Oh, and there's another kind of cool use of this as well. But here we go. This is a literal, like, literally how we would use it. Or at least with this here. So the dryer should be vented to the outside using a metal duct. So the dryer, you know, you need to vent it. Or the grill, smoke from the grill was not vented properly. So it was not being vented properly. So it's not being let out properly. But we could also use vent to mean that, like, if you are really frustrated and you need to tell somebody about it, we would also use it that way as well. So you would vent your, you know, frustrations. So vent your frustrations, for example, or vent your anger, right? So means to basically, you know, express all of your emotions and to someone, basically. So, and then afterwards, after everything is all said and done, you mean, like, you know, I just needed to vent, or I need somebody to vent to. So if I'm looking for somebody to vent to, it means I'm looking for somebody to tell my problems to, because I'm really angry, really upset, really, yeah. So that is actually probably how I would use this as a verb more often than this. Well, I guess it could also, like, let off steam too, but like, in this sense. But anyways, that's how we would use that word. Okay, put that there. Big scale movie. They may clash. Acid type. I think this word has to do with, like, you know how people, like, have sort of, like, this big, like, they feel very self-important almost, or whatever. Like, you know, people's perception of themselves and how important they are. I don't know if this is a very good description of this word, but your idea, like, your opinion of yourself or whatever like that, right? Like, how you feel about yourself. You think you're really important. And then we might say that they clash if you come up against somebody who also thinks that they are really big, really important, and then you may argue or something. Egos may clash, exactly. Exactly. And if we're wondering what the word clash means here, it's just another word that means to fight. So to clash. So if you clash with someone, it means you fight with them. So here's, for example, I'm going to put this in a sentence as well because it's kind of an interesting word. Students clashed with police after demonstrations at 5 universities. And then as a collocation, we might say egos may clash or something like that. So these two words will collocate together. So this is kind of interesting. All right. What else? Clashes using French. Okay, cool. Cool. I wonder if we're gonna know like what this is. I'm gonna get a picture of a coat rack. Like maybe. So a coat rack is something that you put you know, coats on, right? Obviously. But they have these little here. There's these little things that kind of stick out. I'm trying to get a picture so we can see it good. Maybe. Here we go. There is a coat rack with what I want to show. Because sometimes coat racks have hooks, right? That you would hang things onto. But we want actually the name for this little stick thing that comes out. There is a word for it, like for basically a little wooden, whatever this is. Something. Name for a little piece of wood. Basically. So, and in this case, this little piece of wood, it happens to be on our coat rack, but we can also use these things in a variety of other contexts as well. For playing board games, for example, sometimes you might have one of these things and you would move it around the board. But yeah, little piece of wood. Whatever we might call that. Yes, a small stick or hook that sticks out from a surface from which objects, especially clothing, can be hung. A peg. Exactly. Peg is our word. Let's put it here. All right. Nice. I'm avoiding this one because I don't know how to explain it. And I don't know how to explain this one. Probably can explain this one. Line of symmetry. Line of symmetry. So if something is symmetrical, it is the same on either side. If it is even, something is symmetrical, it is even or the same on both sides. So here we are looking for example, on a graph, for example, we might divide a graph into equal parts or whatever, and then we might refer to these lines, whatever the line of symmetry, by a specific name. I hope I explained that okay. I mean, we can also think it like the Earth is kind of like that too, as well. Sort of like the middle part of a sphere, for example. Maybe. This word is gonna start with an A. With an A. I have this sort of another, like a better, better explanation. We might also think of it as like sort of, for example, the Earth, where it would sort of like spin around this central point here as well too. We would also use this word to describe this point where the Earth spins around. Anyways, or I got the wrong one highlighted, don't I? I'm sorry. Anyways, this line of symmetry, this middle point might be an axis super close with the spelling axis. We're gonna put exactly. All right, cool. And I'm sorry that I had the wrong one. The wrong one highlighted. Because I was thinking about this one. How I wanted to get us more information so we can maybe figure it out. So let's talk about it now. Hey, something. And oh, these are types of acids in the body. I'm gonna look up really quickly what these do, which might help us. Apparently it's any chemical substance or any of the chemical substances found in plants and animals that combine to make protein. So that's interesting. So there's like a word for that. Something. And oh, a little bit of a medical term there. They're used to make proteins. That's cool. I'm looking to see if there's anything else that might help us figure it out, but I don't know. Apparently there are different types of these also, which is kind of interesting. But yeah. There's an M in this word. I'm gonna put an M here. Help us out a little bit. You might eat certain foods, I think. Certain foods and vegetables that would be high in this thing here because it would be good for building proteins. Amino acids. Exactly. Amino is what we want. Amino acids are essential for building proteins. So we might want to consume food that are high in amino acids to help us build protein, muscle mass, and things like that. Okay. I'm just gonna put this in here. This word is epic, I think. So we're just gonna do that. Pop star, folded food, urban pollution. Let's do this one first. Word for urban pollution. Basically, fog caused by, exhaust, like from cars, for example, car exhaust, and fumes, and industry smoke. Looking for that word, for that kind of, fog. I'm gonna call it fog. Human fog created by humans. basically. Smog is our word, exactly. So put that in here. Got some smog going on here. And then our folded food. This is something you might eat. Something you might eat when getting Mexican food. So it is like a folded food. It is definitely folded. Had some recently. Pretty good. One of, take a picture here. One of these things. Whatever this is. One of these things. Tapas, not tapa. Oh, our tapas, tapas are like little finger food, I think, that you eat at the beginning of like a Spanish meal, I believe. Is that right? Almost like finger food. So not quite. Different word. Tapas are appetizers or snacks in Spanish cuisine. Right. Okay. So that is what a tapa. That's what our tapas are. Tapas. But these are tacos. This is a taco. Exactly. I don't think they do tapas in Mexican food. And I also don't think that they do tacos in Spanish food. I could be wrong though. I'm like, I don't like 100% know for sure. But this is definitely, I think, is going to be a taco. Let's put that in there. Pop star, Genesis name. Hard word. I always make this mistake. Tapas and tacos. Yeah. Kind of similar. Like similar style food, right? Too. Exactly. Yeah. Over here, it's a lot easier to find Mexican food than it is to find Spanish food. That is for sure. It's probably the opposite over there. I would imagine easier to find Spanish food than Mexican food. Genesis name. Genesis name. Genesis being a book in the Bible. This is a Bible trivia thing. It's like the first book in the Bible. And there were two people. This guy, just about called him a bloke. This guy and Eve was the other one. So we're looking for his name. First person, basically. First person name. Adam, exactly. Let's put Adam in here. That's easy. It'll give us more information. Crazy. Oh, this is like a Spanish name, actually, or Spanish word. That we would also use in English sometimes to refer to somebody who is crazy. So another word for crazy. Not super common to use this in English, but a Spanish word for crazy. I believe it's Spanish. I think so. Loco, exactly. Somebody loco is crazy. Not very common to call somebody loco in English, but from time to time, we might do that. So, alright, so let's put that in here. Hard work. Oh, I don't know if we're going to do this, but I think we could do this one now. We have a lot of information. Just another word for pop star. So a word for, oops. or a pop star, or just somebody you'd look up to, kind of. And there is a TV show, like if I can think of maybe one of the biggest clues. I don't know if this is popular, like where you are, or they probably have different versions of this around the world, but for a while they had like this TV show. I don't even know if it's still on anymore, but where people would compete. And this word was in the name of that TV show, where singers would compete, and then become pop stars or something like that. Idol! Exactly, Idol is gonna be our word. And American Idol was that TV show. I have no idea if they make it. Do they have a similar show where you're there? I feel like there are many different versions of this now. Like there are many other singing competitions and stuff as well. But did they do like a European Idol or something? I don't know. Let me know. I'm always kind of curious. I think they had Canadian Idol. That was a thing for a while. I don't really watch TV, but I do think that that's something that did. Repairers? Reads. I'm gonna put this S here, because we need an S here. And we'll talk about this for a second, too, after we get this. But repairers need. Yes, but I don't watch it. Yeah, I don't watch that kind of stuff either. Does not interest me. Yeah, all of those like singing competitions, cooking competitions, so many cooking shows. Like I don't watch any of it. Anyways, this is these are books or booklets that tell you how to operate or use something. So if you are, somebody who repairs something or somebody who fixes something, you might refer to the little book that came with something, or so you can see how it is used. So we're looking for a word about that type of, that book that a user would use. A manual, exactly. Manuals are the things that you would use. Cool. Manuals, nice. Did we do this one? Can we do this one? Oh god. Divers where? I gotta just get a picture. This is a 2-word answer. So somebody who dives, somebody who goes underwater. Someone who goes underwater, usually for an extended period of time, right? They may have like a scuba diver, for example, right? I don't know if I spelled that right. Scuba diver. Scuba diver. Anyways, they will wear a thing. 2 words. Sea suits, good guess. That is not the word. But you are thinking of the right thing. It's like that, sort of like that rubbery outer. Oh, I guess this is 1 word. That was 2 words. Sort of like this, yeah, this is like sort of rubbery plastic, or not plastic, but like this rubbery protective outer layer that you might wear. Help you, prevent you from freezing. Where I live, it's like, it's the North Atlantic. So even in August and July, August, the sea is still very cold. So some people will come here, they will go surfing, and they will still wear these things. So, yeah. This thing is known... Oh, it starts with a W! I'll put a W! And there's a W in it. There you go. W. Apparently this is a vintage one. If something is vintage, that means it's very old. This is a wetsuit, exactly. So this is a wetsuit. So divers wear wetsuits. All right, so we got a wetsuit. And this apparently is a vintage wetsuit. Anyways, moving on. Not napping. So if you nap, you are asleep, right? So to take a nap, or just like to nap, means to sleep. But if we are not sleeping, we obviously are. Gosh. Ugh. Adjective. So if we are not napping, we are something else. To not be asleep, basically. that is the word. Like, we are all right now, hopefully, unless we are sleepwalking, we are all awake. Exactly. So let's put awake in here. Got that one. All right, cool. Bored. Oh, this is to board something. You would, for example, you would board a plane or board a bus, for example. So we are looking for basically a phrasal verb, another phrasal verb that means to essentially board type of transportation, basically. A phrasal verb you'd use to talk about entering a, you know, large type of transportation. Because you don't do this with a car, right? It would only be certain types of transportation you would use. So like a plane, a train, a bus, for example. You would board, right? Get on. Hello, Glenda. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so we are going to get on. Perfect. So we are gonna like get on the bus or get on the train. Let's put that in here. It's great to see you. Welcome. What else can we do here? So morphine. I know you guys can't see this. I'm sorry. Okay. There we go. I fixed it. I remember to fix it this time. Rink stuff. Something that a rink is made out of. A rink. A rink. Usually you find rinks in winter. So they are kind of like these places where people might go skating, right? Or maybe do other forms of similar like activities like play hockey, for example, or do figure skating, that sort of thing. Anyways, we are looking for the material. This stuff is used to build or to make a rink. So, and if you don't 100% know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna get a picture of an rink. Here we go. Bunch of people doing their thing. And it is made out of ice. Exactly. So ice. It's gonna be our rink stuff. Perfect. So there it is. So we got that. Pricing word. Surmise. Cutting site. I don't like any of these. Since kin. All right, let's do this one. Let's talk about drugs. Morphine. Morphine is a type of painkiller, basically. Right? It is a type of painkiller. Like it's a drug, right? Made from very specific type of plants, made from poppies, I believe? Or whatever. Which technically is called opium. And they are called opiates. Exactly. The family of drugs are known as opiates. So it's an opiate. Great. Exactly. And it is, so opiate refers to that family of drugs, and then opium itself refers to the, like that substance that is made from the seeds from poppies. Okay, cool. What else do we have here? I wonder what this is. Oh. I thought that this ASSN stood for, assistant, but it does not. It stands for, I don't know why I thought that. This stands for association. It is an abbreviation. So we are looking for a similar abbreviation that we might also use to refer to maybe like an association, maybe like a company, something like that. Used to refer to maybe like, yeah, maybe like a company or some sort of, having a hard time thinking of another example that doesn't actually use the word. Like a company or some sort of business. Business or maybe not profit. Like an agency, for example. Agency, something like that. Looking for another word, related word. These sort of things. An ONG? So ONG, really good guess. Yeah, so ONG, what does that stand for? Gosh, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Stands for something. But that is not our word. We're looking for something a lot simpler. Sorry, this is the confusion. So an ONG, I think, is, in English, it's actually NGO. Non-governmental organization. Yeah, this word is going to be ORG for organization. Yeah, an ONG, because I think in Italian and Spanish it's also ONG, but it's NGO in English. So ORG, word for our organization, or another word for an association. Yeah, and this here is this putting site. Putting site, this is a golf term. To putt, this is a golf term. So there's that the little area where you might start first when you're playing golf. Like trying to get a picture. Maybe. Here we go. Here's a picture. The green. Exactly. Yeah, ONG is French. Yeah. It's always, it seems like it's a little bit backwards in the, it's like the opposite in the Romance languages. Yeah, and then in English it's NGO. The green, exactly. This is the green, where we typically start when we are playing golf, I think. I'm not a golfer. But something like that. And then this pricing word. P, something, R. So a word we might use when we are selling things. This word also kind of means each. For example, we might say, you know, one, whatever, person, for example, one, whatever this word is, person, meaning that each person can get one, right? Basically what that is, per. Exactly. Per is going to be our answer. All right. Cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I was trying to avoid this one because I didn't want to explain. I didn't want to explain this one. But if you surmise, that basically means to, like, guess. That's what that means, to surmise. Basically, to make a guess without having a lot of proof. So, for example, I'm gonna put this in a sentence here. So the police surmise that the robbers have fled the country. They guess. And yeah, reckon is gonna be our word. I feel like reckon's an interesting one because I see that reckon comes up a lot in teaching, like, English, like, material. We never say that. I would never say reckon in a million years. Like, and if I did, people would make fun of me. So here it is not common for us to say reckon. I think it's a little more common in the UK. But over here in Canada, the United States, maybe in the South they would say it. They would say reckon, but we do not say reckon. So I always get a chuckle whenever I see it in learning material. A chuckle is a laugh, by the way. Laugh. So I always chuckle. Chuckle whenever I see it. So it always makes me laugh. Because we would never say reckon. Anyways, reckon. Yes, reckon, another way to say that you think or believe something. I reckon something to be true. All right. We're almost done. We're doing a really great job. Okay. I think I see what that is. Got it. Let's do this one. I think this will be the easiest one. So, got it. So just basically another way, something else that we might say, another phrase we might say if we basically understand something, right? A phrase used to indicate understanding, right? So got it is one of those phrases to say I understand. So we're looking for basically another one. Another phrase we might use. First word is a pronoun. Give you that hint, that clue. Something else we might say if we want to say that we understand somebody or something. I see, exactly. I see. So let's put that in here. Hopefully that will help us, because this, I feel like this quadrant's tricky. Stingy one. Streamlined. Yeah, this one's gonna be, I feel like this one's gonna be tricky. Let's do this one, this profit column figure. Profit column figure. So sort of like a money thing. Money thing. We know we're talking about profit. N something something, something, L-E-S. So this profit column figure, so figure referring to the amount of money, right? Profit, we know that we're talking about something, probably making money, right? Possibly through selling things, I'm going to guess. This first word has to do with, you know, when you take, basically how much you make after considering your expenses. So the first word has to do with, how much you made after considering expenses, right? Because usually you have to spend money in order to make money, and then after, once you subtract that from your total, you will get this amount. And then this one has something to do with selling things. I think that is what. So we have net for the first part, exactly, net. How much you've made after subtracting your expenses and everything like that. And then this one here has to do with making money, I think, through things. Net sales, exactly. So I think that is going to be that. Awesome. Glad we were able to figure that out together, because that's a bit of a weird one. And now here, I think we'll be able to figure this one out, because I thought that this would be tricky for us previously. O-S-P something something, a word. Word that means to do well or to thrive. I'm going to throw that out there as well. To thrive, it means that you're doing really well. There is this phrase that we might say this in here, like we might say live well and whatever. This is prosper, exactly. So basically to do well, thrive, be successful, often, yeah, especially financially, live well and prosper. I don't remember where this came from. I feel like it comes from a TV show or movie or something. Anyways, live well and prosper. Means to do well, especially financially, or to thrive. If you thrive, that means that you are growing in a very healthy way. All right. ERA or RBI. I have this answer, but can I explain it? Star Trek. Is it from Star Trek? Might be. Yeah, I was thinking that it was I was thinking that it was from a TV show or something. I think you're right. I know Trekkies. I'm gonna ask them. A Trekkie is somebody who's very into Star Trek. We call them Trekkies. Somebody who is very into Star Trek. Yeah, we call them Trekkies. So I know some Trekkies. I will ask them, because yeah, I'm not a TV person. I'm the worst when it comes to yeah. So ERA or RBI are both stats, exactly, or statistics. Yeah. So thank you, because I didn't really want to explain. I'm glad you knew what it was. That's good. I feel like this word actually might be a new one, but if somebody is stingy, doesn't like to spend money. They are not generous at all. So, but I feel like this word might be a new one for us. I-S-E something S. These are people who don't like to spend money. I don't know if we're gonna know this one. Yeah, they absolutely hate spending money. And this word definitely has like a very negative connotation. They have such a desire to collect money and, you know, be rich and hoard wealth. We would say to hoard wealth, those who amass wealth. You hoard something, you like collect it, but you don't spend it. They don't want to spend it. I have a funny feeling this will be a new word for us. But yeah, people who don't like to spend money. Yeah, I think this is going to be a new one. This word is miser. A miser is somebody who doesn't like to spend money, like to a pretty extreme level. Let's use this in a sentence, maybe? So, I don't know. So on environmental spending, the president is a miser, somebody who doesn't like to spend money on that. We could also use it as an adjective. The adjective form is miserly. My father is pretty miserly, so somebody who doesn't like to spend money. I will tell you right now, this word is not really one I would use often, if ever. I don't think I've ever. I mean, yeah, he's a bit of a miser. I'd say somebody is a miser. But it is not one that I would usually use. But it is a word. So, there you go. I don't know if we're gonna like get this one. We have a bunch of in here. Let's do this one once more. So another phrase we might say for to do something basically another time. So I wonder if we'll be able to get the first words. 2 words here. I feel like the second one might be pretty easy to guess. A phrase we might say if we need to do something again. You know, and I'm gonna say too, this specific phrase I might use if I didn't want to do it again. Like if I am reluctant to having to do something again, I would use this here. So, you know, we're having this conversation, whatever this is, like indicating that I don't want to have this conversation again. It's happening again, even though I don't want to talk about it. We are doing it another time. So, yeah. Phrase we might say if we need to repeat something another time and we really don't want to do it. Perfect. So, let again, super close. Again is right. That is right. So we have again here. This first part is gonna be yet again. Yet again. So, yet again, he is late for work. So he did again. So, very, kind of a very negative sort of connotation there. So, or I need to write my paper yet again, because the first time was not good enough, so now I have to do it again, and I don't want to. Put that in here. Set again. Yeah, no, we're gonna do yet again. So, kind of an interesting little phrase there, but yeah, using that yet there kind of indicates that we don't really, it gives it a negative connotation. So it's raining yet again. I can't believe it is raining again. Ah, so frustrating. So that's yeah, that yet in there is interesting how it changes it. So it's raining again versus it's raining yet again. Like, I can't believe it is still happening. But yeah, that's kind of an interesting use of the word yet there, eh? Anyways. Alright, so close. I think this is a food word this year. Something is all gone. There's nothing left, and I think we are talking about food. If there is no food left, everything has been whatever this is. Eaten! Exactly. Something that's gonna be eaten. Bum, bum, bum. Put that in here. We're so close to having this done. Except these last ones are lousy ones. Ugh. Any guesses about what this... So, Stephen of the Crying Game. Pager cassette. I have a theory about what this word is, what this name is. And then, because I don't think we're gonna get any of these, the streamlined prefix. I think this is kind of like a word about flying. This is kind of like a prefix about flying. I think. Yeah, something about flying, I think. If you have a guess about what that is, related to planes or something, maybe. Astro or arrow. Yeah, I think this is gonna be arrow. Alright, so put arrow in here. And then see if we can get this one. So if you are a baseball? It's a sports team. Yeah, baseball. So if you're a baseball fan, this is the name of the team in Texas. Houston is a city in Texas. And we need a name. So many guesses. Baseball. Yeah, it's baseball. So we have like a baseball team. Baseball team. I suppose you could Google this one if you wanted to. Texas. And then I'm going to say a very common name. I think this is a super common name for a woman. Sort of an old-fashioned name, though, I would say. Because at least here, I don't think that this name is very common anymore. But it's more like a very traditional name. Maybe I shouldn't say old-fashioned. Kind of a traditional name for a woman. If I have a guess. Are you guys Googling? this baseball team. This baseball team is the Astros. I'm gonna put Astros in here. So we have an A here. Now we just need Mary. Exactly. Let's put Mary in here and see if that's it. I think that is going to be it. Oh. We did it! Nice. Alright, cool. Yeah, so great job. Great job, everybody. Thanks so much for your help. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Glenda. It's so great that you stopped by. Really appreciate it. Yeah, alright, cool. So, great job today, everybody. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back next Wednesday at this time for the next crossword. I'm intending to do them Wednesday and Friday next week at this time. So hopefully you will be able to join me. I believe this is happening at 1300 UTC. But I should have checked. But anyways, I will be back next week. Wednesday and Friday. At least that is the plan, unless they become really sick or something. But yeah. So I will see you Wednesday or Friday for another iteration of the crossword game. Feel free to give this video a thumbs up or a like or subscribe to my channel or follow my Facebook page. Also, feel free to share this activity with other people. The more people that I can get out, the better. It is definitely more fun when more people come out. Time flies. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Yes, I hope you have a really fantastic weekend as well, too. Appreciate your help so much. I always love doing these. So I appreciate your support and appreciate your help, your participation, and everything. Yeah, so, yeah. Anyways, I guess have a good weekend. I'm gonna run now. Anyways, bye everybody. See you next week. Okay, bye.